Welcome to Coffee with Democrats, a sensible platform for progressive conversations. Coffee with Democrats is a grassroots movement dedicated to hearing from Democrats, candidates, legislators, and friends from all political backgrounds who want great conversations. Coffee with Democrats is committed to increase Democrat voter registration and Democrat voter turnout by making voting more exciting and meaningful. And now here's your host of Coffee with Democrats, Kevin Dawson.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is Coffee with Democrats. We are blessed today with having a real true champion for the Democratic cause in South Central Oklahoma. We are here with Kimberly Eaton. She is the chair of the Eaton. I'm sorry.
Looks like Eaton, but it's pronounced, that's that Louisiana, Eaton.
Eaton. Well, I appreciate you helping me out with that. Because I've heard you say that and I'm like, well, what did she say? But anyway, I appreciate you, and I appreciate, we have had so much fun together. We've been in meetings together. I was actually present when you actually were reelected as the chair here just a few months ago. And that was so much fun for me to watch and to witness. And I'm so glad to have you on Coffee with Democrats. And I really got to know a little bit about you over the last few months. And I've grown to really appreciate you, and I want to share some of your information with other people, but I'm going to share that by asking you to kind of correct me, just like you just did, and help me through this, because I'd like to know a little bit more about your biography. You just talked about Louisiana, and so someplace there's either on your husband's side or on your side, there's some Louisiana roots. So help me understand and how you got to Oklahoma, because I think this is a very good story. It's an interesting story that I think people should hear.
Well, the Eaton name originates in Dallas, Texas, because that's where he was born. But the story is that in Crowville, Louisiana, where his family homestead is, they are Eatons. And
Okay.
so we tease, but the Dallas group are known as the Eatons. So
Okay.
That's where he's from. And so, matter of fact, when we came here, we found out there was a basketball player. I think he was at OSU, and he was Byron Eaton or somebody like that.
Okay.
Not really, but we already know when people call us, he and I Eaton, they don't know us because they know it's Eaton.
Right. Well, and I made that error real fast just because, and I'm through, just transparency. I looked up here and I read your name and I read it wrong. So and I've heard you say that.
That's what I said. When I go to the doctor or somewhere where I have to have a service, and Miss Eaton, and sometimes I look around because I know that's not my name, not the way we pronounce it. But when I'm in contact with people on a regular basis, I used to correct everybody, but at this point, it doesn't matter, as long as if they know me, they know what to say. So
let's dig in a little bit deeper into your biography. You, from what I understand, you have a military background, but I don't know where you were born and raised at. So maybe you can help fill me in a little bit on that.
I was born and raised in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
So I am a Texan among all these Oklahomians, but I have been grafted in. Started all of my formal education was in Houston, Texas. I went to Prairie View A&M University.
Okay.
Bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and then basically worked for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for 20 years. I am retired, been retired now. I lost count, but I think I'm at 17 or 18 years retired this month. I actually retired at the end of September. I think it's been, we came here thinking 2006, and what is this, 23? So it's 17 years. Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Mhm.
you went into you were in the military, is that correct?
Yeah, I did Army Reserves for those 20 years that I did. I retired at everything at that 20 year and
Okay.
2006, uh, commissioned at Prairie View A&M University as a second lieutenant.
Oh my.
And I did my whole career in the Army Reserves. And I started in Houston at a transportation battalion. No, it was a battalion or brigade. I can't even remember. But anyway,
Right.
did that. Used to go to Fort Eustis for my 2 weeks in the summer, Fort Eustis, which was a great AT. But then I wanted to be in my field, so I started. I got to be a platoon leader in Fort
Right.
Worth, and then I went when I got promoted to captain. I went to another unit in Dallas, and don't give me the line because I can't even think of the name of that unit. But I did what I did with them was I basically made sure that people got their security clearances. So I
Oh,
was the
good.
one doing the backgrounds and paperwork and all that kind of stuff. And then I got my command. One of my friends that I met in OBC, Officer Basic Course, back then, Fort Anniston, Alabama, Fort McClellan, which is where I
Okay.
did my basic for officers. Well, I met this young man and he was from Montana and called me and said, "Hey, I got this cool unit." Because as an officer, what people don't know in the reserves, you have to go find your slot. So once you get promoted, you promote unless that unit is a large group or division, you will promote out of your slot. So you have to go. A lot of Army reservists in the officer branch and NCOs travel on the
Okay.
weekend because they have to go find a slot. So I was a training on a training team. So I was the only female, and I had to be interviewed by all these men, all these highway patrol of Oklahoma, Tulsa Police Department, Oklahoma City Police Department, OSBI. They did it, a conglomerate of everything law enforcement. And I worked for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice and Parole. So, of course, they wanted me to be on their team because I made
Sure.
them. So, I did that for a long time. I think I was in that unit probably up here in Oklahoma City on I think it's 36th Street, across from the DPS,
Okay.
from the public safety
Public safety, right?
over
Yeah.
there. Got a big old tank over there in the yard now. But anyway, did that for a long time. Then I went to up to Camp Robinson and worked in another unit. Well, did I do that first? I think I did. I got my command. I got a command down in Ada.
And
Uh,
you were
off of
still a
country.
second lieutenant at that point?
I was captain.
You were captain. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my retirement rank is light colonel, so I've done a
Oh
lot of
my.
stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
You have, and
yeah.
that's a great accomplishment. Absolutely phenomenal. And um and I say that because I've known people, colonels in the active Air Force, and my son-in-law is with the National Guard now, with the Air Force, in a logistics out here. So yeah, it's my brother-in-law. It the my brother was in the Marine Corps for a long time. He was a recruiter with the Marine Corps, but most everybody that I've worked with, and again, I won't get into too much detail because I've done a lot with the military. When I was in HR and when I worked for Union Pacific Railroad, I did a lot with Fort Sill, um, Fort Riley in Wichita, McConnell Air
Oh
Force
yeah,
Base.
Fort Riley, Lord have mercy. That's where I went to. Of course, so yuck. Yeah, I went to Fort Riley, Kansas. I think one of my favorite units was when I was in Oklahoma City because I traveled every weekend going somewhere training other military police units. That was my
Okay.
favorite. my favorite. And then I think my second favorite was when I had command, and I took some of the Oklahoma boys to Mexico because they had never been to, well, we were at Fort Bliss,
Right.
and they were scared to death to cross that border. Okay, they had never been nowhere but wherever their hometown was in Oklahoma, and they AI wherever they went to basic training and AIT, I guess. And I'm talking about E6 and E7, scared to death across the border. But anyway, we did that. But yeah, that was probably my second. My command was probably my second favorite. But my first favorite was when I was doing training in a 6-state area. And that's what I did every weekend. I would just go catch a Southwest Airlines and go wherever it was.
So can we change topic just a little bit? Talk just a little bit about your husband. Where did you meet him at?
At church.
At church.
Yeah.
And you know, so this is something else that I've learned from you. I don't know a lot about your background, but I learned that he's a pastor.
He is a pastor. Yeah, my background, my family background, all of my great uncles except, and which is my grandfather's brothers, were all pastors. So who knew I would end up marrying a pastor? I sure did. But it was my goal. It was not my goal. You know, some women have that goal, but it wasn't mine. But pretty much met him. He was working at the church on staff full time. And my cousin was the pastor of a mega church in Dallas, Concord Baptist Church. And he was on staff, and he saw me, but he said he liked me then, but he said because he worked there, he wasn't gonna try to approach me, which he didn't, and we just ended up, once he became a pastor, we ran into each other
right
down the road. So that's how that happened.
And from there, again, I don't know about children or anything like that. I that part is just a big, I don't know anything about that. Do you have children?
2 daughters.
Oh, really? Okay. That
5 grandboys.
and grandboy. Okay. Let's talk just a little bit. We're about 15 minutes into our conversation, and we need to talk a little bit about your work as chair. How did you become a Democrat?
Well, pretty much I became a Democrat. I believe my parents were Democrats because I really don't know. I just know they went to vote. To be honest, I just made my choice, based on what the party stood for. It was an inclusive party. It wasn't it wasn't a party that tried to separate, and divide. And another thing I tell people about the Democrats, and I want to say this since I am on here, the Republican Party think that they're the only Christians. They have it all sewed up, but they don't. Okay. And so because I'm one, and I also going biblical, Amos was a social justice prophet in the Bible. Okay.
True. Yeah.
I don't remember even reading nothing about, Jesus didn't like you because you didn't have enough money or this, that, and the other. So, I don't know why they think because I used to know a lot. What is an evangelical Christian? I didn't know what that was, but that's
right.
Themselves. So, but that's fine. But we got Christians over here on the Democrat side too.
So on my personal Facebook account, I have a column that I put out every day that says "Dear Ma and Pa MAGA," and I've been doing this for a long time. And almost, I'd say, very common. I will bring up some biblical verse and compare it to current events, and how the Republicans and the GOP and how Ma and Pa MAGA misinterpret or make an abomination of the actual scripture. So it's something that I'm passionate about. And I'm glad to know that you're also passionate about it. And I am also a Christian. And I know, let's put it this way, there's a lot of people of I don't want to say majority. I don't want to say, anything. It's just a lot of people that are Democrats that are true, what I call Christians. The very first person that I reached out to in Oklahoma was Senator Mary Boren.
Mhm.
Senator Mary Boren invited me to First Christian Church here in Norman, and that's that was right before COVID. And once COVID hit, I don't go in to any large gatherings
Yeah,
if I can keep from it. Yeah, and it's not because I don't like First Christian Church here in Norman, because I do. I really like it, and I like the pastor here. But there's some other things going on that it bothers me that you sit in the same pew with some people that want to bastardize the Bible, and I'm not for that. I'm not going to do that. When people want to talk bad about, you go and you worship in the pulpit, and then you go outside in the parking lot, and then you get preached to in the parking lot about how people don't like being around gays or lesbians or LGBTQ, and that just I got
But the
too big of
killing
a
part about all of that is that all of that was in the Bible too. So
right,
they
right,
obviously hadn't read their Bible.
right.
God
So,
spoke about that. But
and
the thing about it is, people shouldn't judge, and people should let people live.
right,
As a Christian, we know what's right and what's wrong. But one thing God gave everybody was free will. So
free.
at
That's
that
right.
point, people need to just mind their own business.
Well, and not to make this into a Christian theme, but I've got too big of a mouth to keep my mouth shut. So, um, rather than get into conflict and confrontation, I try to stay very easy and stay among friends.
Yeah.
Um, you became a Democrat. Um, about what time frame are we talking about? 10, 20, 30 years ago? Do you remember?
I mean, when I was 18, when I
18, right?
yeah,
Same with me. Same
yeah,
with
when I
me.
was 18 years old, when I was able to vote. I've been voting ever since I was 18 years old. So, uh, you know,
I,
any
I don't know
record
if
in
you're
Oklahoma, you can check anybody's record. I vote in all elections.
right.
Mhm.
I try to whenever I can if I don't get stupid and forget something.
Right.
But
I mean, if it's there, if it's something to vote for, I vote for it. Because
right,
that's your constitutional right, and especially, we have the right to vote. So you need to go vote. That's your voice. Uh, Looking at South Africa and how they stayed in line days to vote. I mean,
hmm
that tells you how important voting is. You
Well,
know.
in 2020, I remember seeing in 2020 there was a church up on the east side of Oklahoma City. And the people that were standing in line there for hours and hours and hours, not to the same point that they were doing in South Africa, but even here in Oklahoma, people felt the need to go to the do their civic responsibility and to vote. And I just applaud that. And I will be the person that whenever we come up with the next election, and we see crowds having to go wait in line, I'm going to bring them water. I'm going to take
Mhm.
them water, and I'm going to provide a snack if there's something there. If somebody is, diabetic or whatever that needs to have a snack, I'm going to provide that, whether I get arrested for it or not. I'm not going
I
to
don't
stand
I
by
don't
and
think we have that law where we can't do that. I think that's only in Georgia where they have that law, right?
I think you're right, but
Yeah, it's
that
not here.
my point is, I'm going to support people who want to go vote. That's part of what Coffee with Democrats is all about. We want to make it exciting for people to go vote. We don't want to, we don't want people to really. We should never have people standing in line for hours to vote. our system should be so fluid and so available that we should be able to vote from our house. And so, I mean, that's my personal view. But you became a Democrat and you worked within the Oklahoma 4th Congressional District for a while. Once you moved up here and got settled in, when did you decide that you wanted to start becoming more active in the Democratic Party?
Well, I kind of want to back up if you don't mind,
Sure,
because
sure, sure.
things you don't know about me. I would say how I really got like really into just politics and things like that was when I was working at Parole in
Okay.
Texas, and we had a union. And so, and it wasn't really, we were with the CWA local out of Austin, Texas. And so, once I found out, I was still young, learning all this stuff. And so one day I signed up. We had about 50 or 60 people in my office. And I think I signed up like 22 people that just one day, and how I did it as I went and talked to people individually. Because at the time we were trying to get the right to carry weapons, being a parole
Yeah.
officer.
Sure, sure.
But go door to door. You don't know what you was gonna see. And we actually in Dallas, I worked in all the areas where probably nobody wanted to work, and so that's how I actually got into it, because I got recognized by the union people, because the union person would come to the office probably once a month, and I had signed all these people and I gave all the applications and the money, like it wasn't nothing to me,
Yeah.
I just did it. And they just made such a big deal about it. And I started being I think I was the parole officers union president or something. I don't even remember. It's been so long ago. But
Right.
had I been working now, I would be probably close to my 40 years working, but I retired 17 years ago. So anyway, they had me run for wanted me to be a candidate for the ERS board, to have the fiduciary responsibility of our retirement system, the employees'
Sure. Okay.
retirement. But I was, and they flew me all over Texas. I gave all kind of speech. I had a speech writer. I thought I was somebody. I tell you, they wrote my speeches. All I had to do was read them. And I even spoke out in front of the state capitol on Lobby Day. I did that every year in April. But
Right.
that's pretty much how I really got into politics, so to speak. And then when I came here, I was retired with no job, couldn't buy a job. And so I joined the Democratic Party. It was something I always wanted to do. So that's how that started.
Good.
Probably I can't look. My years are just flowing together, but it had to have been around 11, maybe.
Okay.
That I joined the Democratic Party, the Garvin County.
Right.
And,
Right.
I think Wallace was the chair then.
Oh yeah, Wallace is a great guy. Yeah.
You remember him?
I see him. I think if he's the same guy that I think he is, he used to be a representative, and he is part of the Cleveland County, does cornbread and beans. If he's the same Wallace that you're talking about.
I'm sure he's very elderly now, because he was, I'm sure he was probably 65-ish, 70 then. So
Right.
I don't know if that's the same one. But then Tim Malden, Tim. So
Yes.
he's in your county, and he was the CD4 chair. So I was doing a lot of good things down here in Garvin County, and Tim said, "Hey, we need you to run for vice chair of the district." And Joe Dorman was running as the chair.
Okay.
So we both got voted in. That's how it started.
Okay.
Then Joe quit, and I ended up being the chair by rising up.
Right,
And
right.
then I took a break after that and got kind of wrangled back into it. Somebody was running for vice chair 4 years ago, 2 years ago, I can't even remember. And she left and went to Virginia and recommended me to take her place.
I
And
see.
then that's when Larry Bush won, and I was
Okay.
I ran for affirmative action and got it. But like I said, I got wrangled back in because of her, Phyllis. That's who did it.
So you mentioned Larry Bush. Is this the same Larry Bush out of Lawton who is running for Congress?
Yes.
Good,
No, he's
good.
not running for Congress. He's running for the Oklahoma House. No, Senate.
Okay,
Senate district.
okay. He is somebody that we're going to look forward to have a conversation with Coffee with Democrats. So maybe sometime after this, I can get some information on how to contact him, because the contact information that I'm getting is rather limited on the internet. So I'm going to have to try to get into his campaign.
I can just tell you where he work at. I can tell you where he work. So that's
All
how I
right.
ran into him.
Okay. Well, we'll do that when
Yeah.
we're not on here. But the good thing is what you have done as chair with your initiatives and with some of the things that you're doing. Again, my interpretation of when I walked down in Purcell into our meeting down there where you were voted back as the chair again, and this was my very first time ever being involved in political party activities. And I was so welcome down there. Everybody just welcomed me with open arms, and I was so grateful for it. And I watched you get reelected there on the floor, and then I started hearing your conversation, your comments about some of the exciting things that you were doing, and that some of these initiatives that you're putting in place that is making voting and being a Democrat more exciting and more meaningful. And that fits so hand in hand with Coffee with Democrats and our goals. And so do you mind sharing a little bit about some of those things that you have done that, I mean, to me, they're just great accomplishments.
Well, I mean, what we're doing here in South Central, I like the way you said that, because I'm straight down 35 too.
Sure.
That's where I live, Paul's Valley. But well, the whole main goal, of course, number one is to elect Democrats. Okay.
Right.
And one thing I noticed, I guess with COVID helped us. Okay, it helped me anyway, because Zoom is my best friend.
Okay.
Instead of running up and down the highway, going to different places. Before I got elected, I was, like I say, I rose again to chair. I mean, it just happened that way. And
Right.
so it was a year and a half before I got elected. Okay, because Larry had just resigned. I mean, I wasn't vice chair a month, and he resigned. And
Okay.
oh yeah, he got voted in May. So they called me in July for vice chair. Then I think he resigned in November, December. So from that
Okay.
point, whole year, well, it's been a year and a half. We're going on 2 now. So the only way we're gonna, I had to figure it out. Hey, Zoom, we're gonna do these Zooms, So I have built a coalition of chairs that will show up, and that's what you want. You want people to be here and hear what you have to say, what you want to do. We're still trying to get young Democrats, recruited, and Comanche County is one of the leading counties that's doing that. They had October the 7th, they had a brunch for some of the students at Cameron University to recruit them in, to have us, that's one of my things that I wanted us to do. Now, I know in every area, we don't have colleges,
Right.
used to have some high school students back in the day. But we're still trying to recruit younger people. Most of us in this party that's active is, I would say, medium age
Okay. You're
You
being
know what the
kind.
medium age is, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. You're being very kind.
I'm being kind, okay? Because I'm in that, I'm 61. I'm good with that because I know I don't look 61. Okay, I'll be 62 in January. But the medium age of a Democrat that's active going to a meeting, from what I've seen, is probably 60 years old.
Right.
Medium,
Right.
okay? So that tells you we need to get some young people, you
Yes,
know.
I agree.
I could really go back into a whole story, but I'm not gonna do that. But anyway, that's what we have to do. I mean, we have to do that by all means necessary. I mean, we have to get young people in here. Uh, Cleveland County had a lot of young people at one time. I'm not sure how young you all's group is now because I haven't been there because you have your meetings on Sundays. I get the
Right.
invitations. I'll make it there one Sunday, but Sundays is kind of rough for me because I have to go to
You're,
church. And
you
then
you
we
have a
may have a
responsibility.
yeah, but I'll make it.
That's not a free day for you. That's a work day.
It's a work day because I support my husband. So if he's preaching at 3
Absolutely.
o'clock somewhere,
Yes.
I'm right there with him. So you
Absolutely.
start something, even like the fundraiser they're having in Cleveland County in a week or whatever, next Sunday. I can't come to that because that's at 2 o'clock. Okay.
Right. Right.
I mean, at the earliest I could get anywhere probably would be 3, maybe 4, on a Sunday if nothing's going on in my life with church.
Sure.
But I'll make it, however. But anyway, so that's one of the things that we're trying to do. And probably second, third thing is also recruit people to run for office. Okay.
Yes.
We had 55, 60 uh unopposed seats, where Republican just, hey, I'm filing, I'll get this, nobody's running, So and Comanche County just took off and started, they had people running, okay,
Right.
especially like December for that Senate seat, and that Republican side had 6 people running in the primaries for the special election. So now they got this other person that's running against Larry. Okay. Larry got about 922 votes. The other guy, his opponent, got 300 and something votes. The Republican that
Oh,
won, he got about almost maybe 1,900 votes, which tells you Democrats are not voting in Comanche
right.
County.
Right.
Okay. So if he's
Right.
going to win this special election, we're going to have to go help and knock doors and do whatever we have to do. We're going to spend a little change down there and get Larry in to, in a Senate seat. Okay.
Sure.
Because it's winnable. Just
Sure it
looking
is.
at what
Yeah.
came out a week ago, he should be able to win that seat.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I met Annie Mintz. I think she's out of Cleveland County.
She is. She is.
And
Yes.
she's a housewife. She told me she was a housewife.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pool of people we need to be talking to because the housewives go to the PTA and
Right.
soccer moms and all kind of things like that. And a lot of times it only takes somebody asking because guess what? Something you didn't know about me. When I was new on the block, and doing these great things, in Garvin County, and I was always supporting in Cleveland County coming to things, and a group of ladies, don't ask me who they are because I don't know, asked me to run for office because we were always in the newspaper here in Garvin. I mean, Garvin County was leading 4th district. Okay, I
Right.
mean,
Right.
literally in a lot of things, especially because back then nobody was doing. I had first social media probably in 4th district back then. I was Garvin County chair for 2.5 terms, because I got the vice chair, won that vice chair for the district. But Tim noticed that, Tim Malden, and apparently, these women just like cornered me somewhere up there at I think it was at the Hampton. I don't know what hotel we were at. It's right there on that in Norman somewhere. Wasn't
Okay.
Hampton because I don't think it was there, but it's the hotel. I think it was Holiday Inn. But anyway, asked me to run for office. You know what? If my husband wasn't a pastor, I would have ran for office. But we talked
Sure.
about it. And being in this small town, you don't want to mix politics in our livelihood. You understand what I'm saying?
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. That can
Okay,
be
but yes,
very
honey,
devastating.
if I was to ever have a chance, where it wouldn't jeopardize my livelihood, I would. So
Right.
it just took them asking me, because I never really thought about it to that extent. So when we're going for candidates or looking for candidates, we need to ask somebody with a good character,
Hmm.
somebody that has integrity, somebody that's passionate about the issues. We need to find those people. They don't have to be business people. How many school teachers do we have that used to be school teachers that have run for office? Lots.
A lot of them.
Uh
Yeah. My
housewife
representative.
thing was my first time hearing it anywhere. She was a housewife, you know,
Hmm.
and now she's a house state house representative.
Right.
Okay, so those are the things we need to focus on in fourth district. I mean, we're coming on the heels of election cycle, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to find people to run in these spots that have historically been Republican. Just put your name in and we got it. There's no reason
Right.
why that should happen, especially here in fourth district.
Right. No, I agree with you 100%. I really appreciate your passion, because what you just talked about is the passion that I like to hear whenever we are together. And you have such a great voice and a great speaking ability that I appreciate every time I'm around you. And the great thing about you is the vast amount of knowledge and the people that you have, the network that you have been able to gather in the fourth district. And whether that was through your being a chair, or whether it was through your Zoom, there's a lot of people who talk about Kimberly. And you may not hear it, but I hear it every once in a while. People just talk about how good things are happening in the fourth district that aren't happening in other places in the state of Oklahoma. So you are doing, you're doing great work. And that's again one of the reasons why I wanted to have you come in and talk about the fourth district and the activities on as the chair. That just that's
That's
my
one of the
take on.
things. That's one of the things I mean, if we're gonna turn Oklahoma blue, it's not gonna happen overnight. We know that.
True.
You know,
True.
I tell everybody, let's just catch the blue wave. We can turn one or two seats. Eventually we can turn them all.
That's right.
You got to be strategic uh, and plan. Definitely we have to raise the money to get there. And that's one of the things. As Democrats, you know, for whatever reason, maybe, for whatever reasons, but we have to amp up the giving game,
Right. Right.
have to support, we can't just sit back and look at TV and we talked about this here. We talked about the messaging, we're getting ready to start, I want to start a messaging campaign, I can't wait on ODP or even the DNC.
Right.
We know
Right.
what Democrats are, so we can put our own stuff out. Our own messages. So that people can see us. Because we're not being seen. And then, like I said, it's too many. And Alicia talks about this. We have too many closet Democrats. I mean, we just do. I mean, and
Right.
it's understandable because people can lose their jobs. You know,
Right. Oh, that's
uh,
true.
and if you're in the closet and you're listening at me now, that's fine. So you can stay in the closet, but just send us some money, okay? Matter of fact, I'm gonna send you my link, so that if anybody want to donate, they can donate to the fourth district, okay?
That's good.
Because and we understand that nobody's telling you to go out and jeopardize your job or anything, but if you can't, and I meet people where they are, Kevin. I mean, did I say that right? Lord, I
Yes, you
can't.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, you.
I'm sitting up here thinking about Dessa's husband. And I told you, I say Dessa's a Dawson too. But anyway, we meet people, you have to meet people where they are. If they can't come out and come to a meeting or be seen with Democrats, we're proud Democrats. Okay. Well, you know what? The least you can do is donate. And we're gonna
Right.
have the link so you can donate. I mean, how did Obama win? He's the one started it. $5, $10
Right. Right.
month,
Right.
$5, $10. That's how he won. Okay. He
Right.
didn't win with rich people. He won with people just like you and I. And
Right.
I'm not gonna even call 45's name, and the poor people that's sending money to him. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Anyway,
That's sick. Yeah. Yeah. That's a sickness there. That,
yeah.
and that goes back to what I was talking about earlier, dear Ma and Pa MAGA, because it how do you take somebody who is the absolute epitome of the devil and
Hmm.
say that he's a godly person? I'm sorry. I should not have brought
Well,
that
when
up.
he
Should not have said
when
that.
he
But
wait a minute, since you brought it up, when he said 2 Corinthians, I already knew he didn't know nothing about the Bible.
yes,
And I'm gonna leave that right
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. And we can go on that one for a long time, because there's a lot of meat on that bone that we can chew on, because that old boy, he's something else. I'm going to show you my support. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know whether
Mhm.
this is going to
I
show
see
up or
it.
not.
I mean,
But
it's coming in, it's going in and out like a ghost, but I
yeah,
saw it.
that
But yeah,
that's where
we
I'm part of that victory fund. That's where I want that to go, because, and I said it back in 2016. Our nation will be generations before we recover from him, and I said that from the very beginning. And the prayer that I put out onto Facebook was the prayer from the 1812 overture. Dear Lord,
mhm.
So anyway, that's where I've kept that, and yeah. So we've got about a few more minutes before we have to try to close this down. But what kind of upcoming events? You do a Zoom call. How
Yes, I
many
do
times do you
Zoom.
do that?
We do
Is that
Zoom.
twice a month?
No, we do Zoom right now once a month, second Sunday, 6
Right.
p.m. Rain, sleet, or snow. You sit in your house, drinking whatever your favorite drink is. Here's my cup, and I've had this
Yeah,
cup a long time. It's Tulsa on it, but I like this cup.
that's a
What is
nice
it?
one there.
Tulsa.
We haven't talked about coffee yet. Shame
Yeah.
on me.
Well, my favorite coffee is Starbucks, and we have all kind of pods. We got cinnamon dolce, salted caramel, French roast, whatever I see, I get. So it's the holiday season now, so we've had pumpkin spice. We still have
There
some of
you
that
go.
left.
Yeah.
Uh, uh,
You got
what's
to
the
have a
other?
PSL in your,
Peppermint. I have peppermint bark. I
right.
have a really nice coffee bar. So with the syrups and everything. So
You got that at home, or is that in your
yeah, it's
office?
at home. Yeah, I have a big
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful Keurig with the big it goes up to 12 cups if you want an 8 cup, 10 cup, 12
Sure.
cup with the coffee pot. And then I have a travel size Keurig that I carry with me when I go
Oh,
travel. Yeah.
when you travel, you say you travel every week. So yeah.
Yeah.
So my favorite coffee is McDonald's.
Okay. I like McDonald's
I don't
coffee.
know. I don't know why. It just. I used to travel with Union Pacific Railroad. I was an HR director, and I went out and I did a lot of hiring sessions. And I would go to Chicago, and I would go to, out in the boondocks of Wyoming. If you want to know of some of the craziest places on earth, go to Wyoming. Go
That's
to
a place
Rawlins,
I
Wyoming.
haven't been yet. I want to go to Wyoming.
Oh, it's dear MAGA. Oh my goodness.
I understand, dear MAGA. Well, y'all gonna see
But
this dim coming through. Might have to change some of y'all's minds. Dear man.
The yeah, I used to go to Rawlins, Wyoming, which was the location for the territorial and the state prison. And I used to have to hire people there in Rawlins to do, both train service and track labors. And what do they have in common, whether it be in Chicago or Rawlins, Wyoming, or Denver, Colorado, or Texarkana? McDonald's. They're everywhere. You can go up north, they've got Starbucks, but down south, they don't have the Starbucks down south. Well, they didn't used to. They probably do now. But when I was
We have a Starbucks here in Charles Valley. We were real proud of. We only had it probably less than a year.
yeah, but that's because they've expanded. And I stopped working as an HR manager in 2017. But back in I started working for the railroad in '79, and there wasn't no Starbucks nowhere.
Oh no, Starbucks didn't come on the scene until what? I don't even know.
2000.
That's what I was saying, in the 2000s. At some
Right.
point, but yeah, when Walmart started selling Starbucks, that's when I started buying it.
Right. My wife, she buys Dunkin' Donuts or Dunkin' coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. She likes that vanilla. And that's one of my favorites too. Whenever we have, no, it's not one of my favorites. Let me back up. If it's not, it just got to be straight coffee for me. And I doctor it up so you don't. I doctor it up with creamer and some sweetener.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't like the vanilla. I don't like, there's a very good TikTok out there where a lady, her boyfriend says, "Hey, you want to go get a PSL?" And that's a pumpkin spice latte. And she just jumped up like she was excited, like, "You want a PSL? Absolutely, I want a PSL." They were taking off and running out the door. So I don't do PSL. But if I can tell my wife, "Hey, you want a PSL?" She knows what it is, and we'll go get one. I'll get one for her, and I'll get something else for me. But right around the corner from me, I've got a place here in town that they sell. They sell coffee. It's called the Beanstalk, and then I get credits with what's called magic beans. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to take her to work, and I'm going to get me some coffee and pay for it with my magic beans.
All right, that's good.
So let's have you talk just a little bit. I'd like for people to hear a little bit about an elevator speech that you have about being Democrat and helping out the Democratic Party and kind of closing this down and make it fun. If there's any way that we can make being a Democrat fun, I'd like to hear you make it fun.
Well, first I'm going to say, if you're a Democrat, you need to join your local party. If you can be out, are you coming out?
Yeah.
If you want to see what the Democrats are all about, you can join our Zoom. He'll have my information for you to contact me.
Right.
Also, guess what we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about, hey, CD4 got the convention. We got the.
Hey, let's talk about that. Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be in Ardmore, April 6th. So we're going to be voting for delegates for the National Democratic Convention. Okay, so we're real proud of that. And the killing part about it is the Central Committee overwhelmingly voted that it be in Ardmore when it could have been, like she said, right around the corner in Midwest City, because the bids were similar in pricing. But we won. Thank you that we won. So, but to become a Democrat, I think a lot of people are brainwashed about the other side. Being a Democrat, we care about values. We care about people. People is what you should be caring about. People. Okay. Not things, but people. Okay. So you know how you were in school and maybe you were that person that was shunned by everybody. Maybe you were the one that was bullied by everybody. Maybe you were the bully, you know, and you only bullied so people wouldn't bully you. Hey, but as a Democrat, you can be yourself. You can agree to disagree, but the overall thing is humanity. That's who we are. We are a party for the people. Okay,
Right, right.
not a party for the affluent. I mean, I'm sure we have some here, but we're regular people with regular problems like everybody else. Um, and a lot of people who are on the other side, they're only on the other side, probably because mom, dad, grandma, or they are at the job and being influenced by the other people. Because I know that nobody wants bad for your own family. Okay,
Right,
and we're
right,
not going to handbasket because we're not Republicans, we're
yeah,
Democrats. So
right.
that's why people join us, because we are for everybody.
Well, I couldn't say it any better. You have really hit it the nail right on the head, and you said it with such passion and compassion. I mean, that's part of the things that being Democrats, we have compassion for so many people. The one thing, you've got a secretary who works for you. I can't remember her name, but the first thing she does whenever we have a meeting is she um, has the it's not a blessing, but it's the pledge for Native Americans, and
Oh
that we
yeah,
are on Native
Katie.
American land.
Hmm.
Yeah, Katie. And she does such a wonderful job of explaining that, that we are on native land and we have to care for and take care of the native land. And, that's, I greatly appreciate. So 2 weeks ago, we had Chief Jim Gray that was on Coffee with Democrats. And I actually, instead of being the host, I turned the hosting duties over to him, and he was able to get a lot of the national advocates for the indigenous tribes and the Indians to be able to come on there and have these conversations, so that again, that's how inclusive the Democratic Party is. We're not an exclusive party. We don't exclude people, and we when it comes to LGBTQ rights, we stand up for that. When it comes to women's rights, we stand up for that. Reproductive rights, we stand up for that. When it comes to healthcare, we stand up firmly for healthcare. And when it comes to education, we're going to stand up against Ryan Walters. I'm going to send you my speech. I had a speech that I gave at the Cleveland County Labor Day. I'm going to send that to you so that you can see how passionate I am about
Hmm.
some of the things that we do as Democrats. And I'm
Can I
I'm
say one
very, very
thing?
pleased. Yes, 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 absolutely.
Well, as great as I am, I'm not that great. Okay, because uh, to have a team like I have, uh, Travis Darling as the vice chair, and we both started as AA officers on this last trip 4 years ago. Travis is awesome vice chair. He's the one that oversees the money, of course. And then
Sure.
Katie Kane, she's one of the affirmative action officers.
Right.
And she was previously my ad hoc secretary before we all got elected. And then we have Charles Peting out of your county as the secretary.
Right.
So we have a marvelous team. Okay. We're looking
And I
for,
actually nominated him.
well, that's good. And we're looking for another affirmative action officer. We have a vacancy at CD4. So we'd like to fill it. But the team that I am, oh, don't let me forget the county chairs. Oh my God. If I could call everybody, I really don't want to start calling names because I've been forgot everybody. Uh,
Well, I'll
but
help you with
all of the
Cleveland County. I'll tell you what, Destiny Warrior and
Destiny,
Jamie,
yeah, Destiny and Jamie, all of them, I know exactly.
they they
Sure.
they're great people.
In McLean County, Shakira, in Comanche
Oh yeah,
County,
yeah, yeah.
Kim County, you got Laura and Gary in Pontotoc County. And then there's another Gary in Stevens County. We don't get to see him much because I'm still trying to talk him into Zoom. He's kind of set in
Right,
his way.
right.
But we have a myriad of we have representatives out of Oklahoma County, which is DESA, and
Yes, yes.
Rita Maxwell, who was the Federation chair, Veterans Federation chair. So, I mean, actually, CD4 is loaded with excellent people who care about being Democrat. And
Right.
and like I say, you're not leading nobody if you look behind and ain't nobody following. So,
Yeah,
every time I tune in on Sunday and people show up, that lets me know I'm doing something all right. Otherwise, they wouldn't
that's
even waste time.
well. I couldn't end the segment on a better statement than what you just made right there. And you are a wonderful leader, and you are greatly appreciated. So thank you so much. Thank you for coming on to Coffee with Democrats. We are very blessed to have had this opportunity to be with you, and thank you so much. I'm looking forward to having more conversations with you and getting more people from CD4 out onto Coffee with Democrats and spreading the word and helping spread the word through social media about some of the things we can do and encouraging people. Let's get excited. Let's get pumped up, and let's think of being Democrats as a positive thing, that you're going to be helping other people. And you're not just helping a candidate, but you're helping a lot of people through that candidate, and making sure that that candidate can do the right thing for the all people of Oklahoma. That's one of the differences between Republicans. Republicans are pinpoint focused on a very small group of people. Democrats are not. We are focused on all the people of Oklahoma, and we want to make sure that all of the people of Oklahoma, including Republicans, including Libertarians, including independents, including Democrats, all benefit from our policies and the laws of the state of Oklahoma. This is a great state, and it's been a great state for as long as I've lived here. And even when I was gone and seeking something else out, and chasing a dream, I always knew that Oklahoma was my home. And as a Sooner, as somebody who graduated from University of Oklahoma, I am Sooner born and I'm Sooner bred. And when I die, I'll be Sooner dead. And that's the same way I feel about Democrats. I'm a Democrat born, and when I die, I'll be a Democrat dead. And that's just the way it's going to be. So thank you, thank you,
Well,
thank
thank
you.
you for
I, I,
inviting me.
I can't say all everything about you is such a positive influence, and your focus has been so wonderful. And I can't wait to have more meetings and see more of the positive things come to fruition through your leadership. So thank you very much for coming on Coffee with Democrats. And for everybody who listens in on this, we're going to have the links down below. We're going to put the links down here so that you can go to help with the Democratic causes and help with your donations. And then we're also going to try to keep a list of activities in CD4 so that if you want to just go out and just have that conversation eyeball to eyeball with somebody else, come on out. We want to have that conversation. So appreciate everything that you do. And until the next time, everybody, please be safe.
Thank you.